Hi everyone, welcome to this week's episode of No Such Thing as a Fish, where we were joined by our good friend and erstwhile colleague, Ann Miller.
That's right, Ann Miller, not just a QI elf these days, not just a brilliant producer, but a children's author.
Yes, she has a new book out. It is called The Monster Diaries. What's it about, Andy?
It's about the Cyclops and the worst party ever. It's a telling of the Cyclops myth from the Cyclops' point of view, which is a very funny and good idea. Turns out Odysseus is a complete prat. And the Cyclops is the one who should be the hero of the story, but has been mistreated by history. So Anne is setting the record straight.
I gotta say, it's an amazing book. My daughter has been swimming in it for the last week. She cannot put it down, and she's been asking for it to be read to her at every bedtime. I know other kids will love it too.
And it's a part of a trilogy, so there's 2 more on the way. If you want to subtly get brilliant bits of history and mythology into your child's brain, this is the way to do it.
Yes, that's right. And if you have a very big brain yourself and you would like to show people how big your brain is, then guess what? You have a chance to do so this coming week, because we have our next No Such Thing as a Fish quiz night.
Yes, if you're a member of Club Fish or at the friend of the podcast tier, you can come to our online quizzes. The 3 of us have been beavering away, writing questions. I am getting a costume for my round. I haven't told you guys this yet.
No.
It's ordered.
Is it a beaver costume?
It's not a beaver costume. It's so much worse than that. But basically, it's an enormously fun night. You can join as a team with friends or family, and it's all done over Zoom. So we will send you a link and you can just join. It's going to be on, is it the 14th of April?
That's right.
2026.
Yep, this year.
AD.
AD.
And it's at 7 p.m. UK time. So go to patreon.com/clubfish, look for that friend of the podcast tier, and then you will be able to join us and see if you can pit your wits against other fish fans.
Okay, on with the podcast.
On with the show.
Hello and welcome to another episode of No Such Thing as a Fish, a weekly podcast coming to you from the QI offices in Holborn. My name is Dan Schreiber. I am sitting here with James Harkin, Andrew Hunter-Murray, and Ann Miller. And once again, we have gathered round the microphones with our 4 favorite facts from the last 7 days. And in no particular order, here we go. Starting with fact number 1, that is Andy.
My fact is, the author of Ben Hur dedicated the book to his wife, but he accidentally made it sound like she died. And when he tried to fix it, made it sound even more like she died.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So this is Lou Wallace,
Right.
who wrote Ben Hur, which was one of the biggest books of the world in... it was out in about 1880. I think it was the biggest selling novel of the 19th century.
Right.
Until Gone with the Wind, I think.
It was massive.
And it's a Roman epic that also takes in the birth of Jesus,
Yes.
the life of Jesus.
It's a bit like the life of Brian, but it's serious. Is the best way I can describe it. Like it's huge though. For many people, It was the first fiction they'd ever read. Like it just sold so many millions of copies.
It's like the modern version of the Da Vinci Code, 50 Shades of Grey,
Yeah.
Ann Miller's new book.
Yes, it's all of that. It's all of that. Do you have leprosy in yours, Anne?
No.
Oh, you've missed a trick there. And that always adds 50% to sales.
But a Cyclops with a big eye.
I should say this was sent in by Amber O'Ran, so thank you very much, Amber. It's a terrific fact. Basically, Wallace was married to his wife Susan, and he said, I'm going to dedicate the book to you. What would you like? And she chose the wording, to the wife of my youth.
Oh,
Now, a lot of
only my youth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. A lot of people read that as, oh, that's so sad. She passed away, some years ago. To the wife of my youth.
Oh, okay.
And he wrote, I began to receive letters of sympathy and inquiries as to when and of what poor Mrs. Wallace died. She was alive and well. And he got so many, I think he started getting marriage proposals by people thinking, hey, well, he's single.
He writes a good book.
Yeah. And he had to go back and he asked his wife to help him fix it. So later copies read, to the wife of my youth who still abides with me.
Oh my God.
The words is like, she lives on in my heart.
Isn't that like the world's most famous funeral song as well?
But yes,
Just to my wife. To my wife.
to my wife, who's here right now. She's looking great. She's never looked better.
I think here's the problem. It's a great novel. He's written this great novel. His wife is only doing one little bit. His wife has done the dedication both times, and she's messed it up twice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. She had one job.
But she's played the long game in terms of PR because now she's on No Such Thing as a Fish.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Susan Wallace.
Susan
Is she
Wallace.
still alive?
Well, she outlived him by a couple of years. So
Did she?
do you know that she was a writer as well? And I read that she came up with the phrase "the patter of little feet" in a poem.
Ah.
get out.
she?
Yeah.
That's huge.
And
Yeah.
people will know that more than Ben Hur. So
It's snappier, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's quicker. It was a big book. I mean, there's no doubt that this was a huge moment in literature. It supposedly was blessed by Pope Leo the 13th. That's a story that goes around. It was
good.
one of the first books that was turned into a Braille book, but that's a big book
Oh, wow.
to be
That
Braille.
is a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
You get tired fingers.
Yeah, and it was
What?
you would get tired fingers, yeah, and tired eyeballs from reading it because it is a monster book.
Yeah.
Tired ears if you listen to the audio.
Do you see it was one of the first big merch tie-ins as well? So his son was a businessman and he licensed it to all sorts of things. So you could get Ben Hur cars, bicycles, cigars, Ben Hur soap, Ben Hur perfume, and Ben Hur flour.
As in stuff you make cakes with?
Yeah.
Wow.
Ben
I
Hur
also
baking.
read you could get Ben Hur and Ben His bathroom towels.
Stop it.
Apparently.
That's very good. I didn't think they had his and her stuff in the 1880s, but I'm wrong,
It's
clearly.
spelled H-U-R.
I think the merch that I'm talking about came after the movie came out. And so the movie came out in the 50s, didn't it?
Wow.
The Charlton Heston version, the real colossal famous one. Yeah.
But there have been 4 films.
Have there?
Yeah.
4 films.
And when was it the first one MGM ever made?
Yeah, the first was in 1907, which was 15 minutes long, which at the time was an epic. I was just, oh my God.
Well, I'm going to have to go for a wee 3 times.
15 minutes.
And they didn't get the rights to it. They just made the film. So all prints of that film, by law, were destroyed except one.
Yeah.
There was only one print left. Then there was a 1925 one, which was very faithful to it, and they got the rights. And then, yes, the 1959 one is a very famous old Hollywood, swords and sandals epic.
Yeah.
Charlton Heston plays Ben Hur in the movie,
Sure.
Judah, and in Greece it was not starring Charlton Heston.
No, it's John Travolta.
Yes. Anyway, just a little fact there for you guys. 2 different people, it turns out. Anyway.
So in Greece, they released this with another actor.
No, it was still Charlton Heston, but he was billed as Charlton Easton. And the reason is because in modern Greek, hesto means to shit yourself. Yeah.
Does it?
It's a
You
defecation
tried
thing.
driving a chariot that fast.
That's amazing.
That's wild. I read that the film it won 11 Academy Awards, which is the most anyone had got until Lord of the Rings, the third one that also got 11, and both books, HarperCollins books.
Interesting.
Oh.
What are you trying to
Such a
say here?
niche detail.
This is a woman in publishing,
Who can you name any other HarperCollins books?
Theory of Everything Else by Dan Schreiber. Was
Monster
a-
Diaries
that
by
could
Anne
be the
Miller.
next-
That was an imprint, Mudlark of HarperCollins.
The really nice thing about the film versions is that there's a guy who directed the chariot race in the 1925 movie. Assistant directed it. He's called William Wyler. He directed the 1959 film. He worked his way up from assistant chariot race director to overall film director. But the 1959 film is the only Hollywood movie ever to make the Vatican's approved list of films.
Really?
If you're having a Vatican movie night,
Yeah.
Vatican approved movie night,
Yeah.
Yes.
you can only watch one Hollywood film, and it's Ben Hur.
And that's
Which
the
is
only one.
long.
Still to this day.
I don't know if they've updated the list.
You should write to them.
I should write to
So
them.
what are the other ones on there then?
There's Dude, Where's My Car 2. Not Dude, Where's My Car 1.
But that's Hollywood as well, right? So what I mean,
No, you're right.
Is it like European?
Oh, or like
Scandi
educational
dramas or-
films or
It'll be a
something.
load of boring stuff, won't it?
Yeah.
What if it's literally just Ben Hur?
Maybe
Like
there's
when
only
I
one
was,
film.
but when I was in
yeah.
primary school, we had one video to record. So every wet play or end of term, we all watched Mrs. Doubtfire, but only the first 50 minutes.
Wow.
Why only the first 50?
Because
time ran
that's how
out.
long a lesson was.
Ah,
So I didn't see the second half till I was like 20.
So
They're both the same guy.
It blew my mind. I'm not kidding. We watched the same 50 minutes every wet break.
And like presumably you went to school in Scotland, right? So for you guys, it would be like a documentary.
That was after school childcare. Yeah.
How was the accent for Robin Williams?
Liked it.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Can we talk a little bit about Lou Wallace?
I'm obsessed
yeah.
with Lou Wallace. I knew nothing about him.
Very, very interesting fellow. So he started writing this book after basically being buttonholed on a train by an agnostic for some time.
What do you mean by buttonholed?
Sorry, it's like where someone grabs your lapel and just talks at you for ages about something, being
okay.
buttonholed, you know.
Yeah.
So he was on a train with another soldier. He was a soldier in the I think Union Army in the Civil War. Yes,
Yeah.
in the Civil War. And he got talking to this soldier called Colonel Robert Ingersoll for ages and ages, who was quite a well-known agnostic speaker about, doubts about the existence of God. And he just seems to have written a huge epic religious novel off the back of this conversation, saying...
Just to piss him off, then.
Seems like it, yeah. And it was read by so many famous people.
Yeah,
So, friend of the podcast, I would say first and closest friend of the podcast,
Robin Thicke. Who?
President James Garfield.
No. Oh, he was a very well-read man.
Well, he had time on his hands, didn't he, while he was lying around?
Did you read about the job he gave him?
No, what?
So apparently President James Garfield, while he was president, he loved Ben Hur so much, and this, I wish people in power did this more often, he wanted to read the sequel so much that he gave Lou Wallace the job of ambassador to the Ottoman Empire based in Constantinople in the hope that being there would make him inspire him to write a sequel.
Oh, wow.
That's so
Isn't
cool.
that so cool? But he didn't write a sequel.
He didn't write a
Well,
sequel.
he was probably busy being it sounds like a big job. Like ambassador to the Ottoman Empire. That's
But-
a huge
I
gig.
imagine Donald Trump's done the same with Eric Carle to try and get him to do a Very Hungry Caterpillar too.
I'm here for it. But this guy's life is absolutely incredible. He's basically kind of like the nearest comparison I can think of is like the Giles Brandreth of his time, because he.
Oh my God,
No,
Giles
he
is
did.
going to love
He
that.
did everything. So when Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, he was one of the people who investigated the co-conspirators. He was a general in the Civil War. He was sent and made territorial governor of New Mexico, which is where he wrote Ben Hur. Then he wrote the book, and then he did some deal with Billy the Kid that went wrong. So he had like people going past his house and shooting at his candles while he was trying to write because they were so cross with him this had gone south.
Sorry, hang on, back up. Billy the Kid's people were
trying-
shooting at his candles.
He had to stop him writing.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, I don't think they were that good at shooting in those days.
I
I
know.
know they were good, but like to be able to shoot a candle.
Yeah, you've got Calamity Jane who can do that, but that's about it. I don't think...
you're
How do you
passing
shoot
on
a
a-
candle?
Oh, you just aim for the top, don't you?
No, but how do you not accidentally kill Lou Wallace in the process?
I think they wouldn't have minded.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
yeah.
Well, he did end up having Billy the Kid arrested, which is...
I think what happened with Billy the Kid, I might be wrong about this, but I think what happened was Billy the Kid was an outlaw, and he said, well, I'll pardon you. Come back and we'll let bygones be bygones, and maybe you can like tell us about some of your accomplices. But then he kind of lost his power a little bit, and the other people who were in charge said, "Oh, we're not gonna agree with that deal anymore." And Billy the Kid then went to prison. So I think it was like a deal that he did, but then he wasn't in a position to honor it.
Interesting.
And I think that's then the reason that Billy the Kid's people were so upset with him. I think.
Right. That makes sense.
But like, what a life.
What a life. He made his own violins, Lou
Yeah.
Wallace. He patented 8 inventions. One of them was a retractable reel inside a fishing rod handle. This guy.
That's useful.
Very useful.
I was looking at the website of the his study, which he built to play the violin in, is now a museum. And on the website, they've got these FAQs. So they're like, oh, did he really go back on his word to Billy the Kid? Did he really know Abraham Lincoln? But one of the questions is, did Lou Wallace really invent the snooze button? And the answer is no. And it says, and we're not sure how this rumor got started.
Wow, it
How
sounds...
frequently asked is this question, really?
Well, they ask it every 9 minutes.
I feel like with what we've heard about him, that doesn't sound out of place.
Yeah.
He did invent
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, but
that's-
not a snooze button. And then there's this lovely quote from him where he said, let's read the whole thing because it's beautiful. He says, I would not give a tuppence for the American who has not tried to do at least one of these things. Paint a picture, write a book, get a patent, or try to play a musical instrument. That is the genius of the true American in those 4: art, literature, invention, and music.
Oh, it's easy for you to say. You're a sort of multi-award winning genius inventor.
Military
musician.
leader, presidential
yeah.
writer.
Did he produce any other major work outside of Ben Hur?
He wrote the big biography for Benjamin Harrison while he was running for president. Because
Ben Hur?
He should have called it that.
because there wasn't really much like a like a TV news circuit you could go on. So to like get to know the candidates, they push these books, and he wrote Benjamin Harrison's. It's such a good job. It was like the book about him for like 70 years, but with the wrong title.
Stop the podcast!
Stop the podcast.
Hi, everybody. Just to let you know, this episode of Fish is sponsored by Squarespace.
That's right, you know Squarespace. It is the all-in-one website platform that is designed to help you stand out and succeed online.
That's right. No matter what you're doing, Squarespace gives you absolutely everything you need to claim the domain, make a gorgeous-looking professional website, and get paid all in one place.
Yeah, you've got all the choices of all the design kit that you need if you want to do fancy fonts, if you want images and so on. You can set up a donation page. There's so many brilliant things that it makes it just as easy as a click of a button to do.
There are all the sort of basic nuts and bolts that it's incredibly useful to have. One of them is a thing called Squarespace domains, right?
Oh.
So every Squarespace domain comes with extra privacy and security tools included to ensure that your domain remains online and protected. So Andy's Big World of Moss is safe. That's mine, you know?
Yes.
And they just provide everything you need. They make it incredibly easy.
So all you need to do is head to squarespace.com/fish to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
That's right. Go to squarespace.com/fish, save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Use the offer code FISH at the checkout.
Okay, on with the show.
On with the podcast.
Okay, it is time for fact number 2, and that is Anne.
My fact is that as well as more famous Greek gods like Poseidon and Zeus, there was also Kiamites, the god of beans.
Yummy.
Fantastic.
What would be your job as god of beans? Just making sure.
Counting them, I guess.
Counting.
There's very little known about Kiamites, I should say. So we think specifically the broad bean, and we think he may have hung around with Demeter, who was the goddess of agriculture, but he's quite mysterious.
Do you get kind of junior, because like in the government you have the main minister of transport, but
The
then you'll
main
have
man.
the minister of buses who's got a smaller brief, obviously.
Yeah.
Is it the same kind of thing? You'll have a god of the big deal, like god of war, and within that is a goddess of archery or whatever.
I would say yes, but
Yeah.
with a lot more having sex with your sister.
Well, we don't know what the minister for buses gets up to.
That's what On the Buses is about. There's not much written about this guy, Kiamites, but Pausanias writes, I cannot state for certain whether he was the first to sow beans or whether they gave this name to a hero because they may not attribute it to Demeter, the discovery of beans. Whoever has been initiated in Eleusis or has read what are called the Orphica knows what I mean. And it's such, we don't know what that means.
It's so mysterious. But Andy's kind of right. It kind of is like a government setup. So you're like 12 Olympic gods who live on Mount Olympus, and there's kind of two groups. There's Zeus and his siblings, and then there are his children, and there's some crossover. And so you have Zeus, who's married to Hera, who is his sister. They have some children. There's also his sister,
Different time.
Demeter. They also have a child. And then there are his children, so that you've got like Athena, Aphrodite, Hermes. But again, with Greek mythology, because the stories were told so often and in different places, there's different versions of everybody's parentage. So Aphrodite's one is brilliant because one version is that she's Zeus's daughter, but not Hera's. So
Okay.
far, so straightforward.
Yeah.
The other telling is that her father was a different god, Uranus, god of the sea. Uranus, god of the sky.
Come on.
And in that
Proper
version of the story,
pronunciation, Anne.
in that,
Come on, Anne.
Come on.
not because of what's coming next. And in this version, his testicles were cut off and thrown into the sea.
Oh, yeah.
And near Paphos in Cyprus, and the resulting foam led to the creation of Aphrodite, and her name comes from the Greek aphros, which means foam. But there are very famous paintings of Aphrodite coming out of the sea and being born, and so as far as I can tell, no testicles in the paintings.
Okay, that's
That's
interesting.
is that the same as the birth of Venus?
Yeah.
Where she's on the shell?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
the foamy.
Ah, yes.
I find it all very difficult to keep in my head. You know what I mean? It's like you get it in quiz questions and stuff like that. It always comes up, and I've often tried to learn how everyone's related to each other, but it's so difficult.
It
to
mashes
Yeah.
together and it changes, and there's different versions. So even the 12 Olympian gods, there's different 12s depending on who you talk to. They're kind of like Zeus is always there, but some of them vary around a little bit, and it all starts slipping into each other.
As it were. Aphrodite, we've mentioned, the goddess of love. She just has an interesting entourage of junior gods around her. There's Eros, There's Hermaphroditus, and there's Hymen, the god of marriage.
Oh.
But there are various other. I like this kind of very junior level gods. So
The
there's
small gods, as Terry Pratchett would call
yes,
them.
Yeah.
Hedilogos, god of sweet talking.
Nice.
Sweet talking.
Yeah,
Right.
like it's flirting,
Yeah.
Yeah.
chat, good
Bants.
chat, bants, top but hot bants. But Aphrodite has another very interesting thing that she gave the world because she may have been the first mother ever to slipper her child, as in like like thrash with a slipper.
Oh, really?
There's a vase from 360 BC which depicts Aphrodite giving naughty little Eros a spanking with a slipper, which is obviously that's become, that was a staple of things like the Beano.
Yeah.
You get
That's
hit,
true,
you
yeah,
get
yeah.
hit with a slipper.
They invented
But also, it
Beano.
feels like, when you have a bad moment, you think, I hope nobody saw me do that. Imagine having it painted on a vase. Painted on a vase.
Have you seen the latest vases? No. We did something ages ago, which was about Pythagoras and his
Terror of
death.
beans.
Yeah, and his fear of beans. Is that connected in any way to the fact that?
I think it might be connected in some way, in that the reason that he didn't like beans is because some people thought they had the souls of dead people in them. They were definitely associated with death, and they were an offering that you would give if someone had died. And so for that reason, they were obviously important in society. And when something was so important, they might have a god associated with them.
Yes.
So I think that's what the
And they also had
association
sort
is.
of like deities. They weren't specifically like gods, but they like sort of had special powers or for certain areas. So there was Horcus, who personified the curse on those who make a bad oath. You would sort of call to him. There's somebody, Momus, is for mockery and satire. There's a whole bunch of like
I love
sort of
Momus.
skills.
Momus is the bastard child of night.
Ooh.
Momus was thrown out of Olympus eventually for hanging around making unhelpful comments.
Which sounds like you would be right.
dare you? How dare you?
Sounds like your patron saint.
I did think, oh wow, like the class clown has a
sure you hear more from him.
So I get quite confused about how people in ancient Greece experienced all this.
Yeah.
Like, what was the day-to-day life like with all of these gods? I know they had individual temples and some major ones and some smaller ones, but I just wanted to do a little quiz question for you guys. When was the last temple built to the Greek gods?
There's probably still people around who
Yeah.
believe in it. So I would say 2025.
Yeah,
I
I think
feel like
that's
it-
very likely. But to play along with your
Thank
game,
you.
let's
Thank
say it was
500 BC.
Yeah, 100 BC.
Thank you,
May
James.
2025.
Thank you.
This morning.
It was in 2025.
Oh, Dan.
Was it?
Yeah, it's in the Peloponnese, and it was the idea of a doctor called Manolis Heliotis, who has 150 acres of land. It's a proper temple, like it's marble,
Cool.
it's
Yeah.
ionic.
Is it for
pillars.
specific gods or for all of them?
It, do you know? I don't know. if
Sounds
it's,
like a tax break to me.
it's to the god write-offs. Yeah,
There
yeah.
must be one.
It opened on the 8th of March,
Oh,
the same birthday as No Such Thing as a Fish.
Oh.
That's the day after.
It is.
That
Yeah,
should,
yeah.
that's
it was illegal to worship Zeus until 2006.
Yes.
In fact, any of these lot. If you wanted to do a Kaiamites festival, then that was no can do.
Wow.
But then in 2006, an Athens court decided that you can do this kind of pagan worshipping. Because before that, you could only be, I think, an Orthodox Christian and one or two other things were allowed. But yeah, then they came in, and then there was censuses, and the US State Department in 2006 reckoned there were 2,000 followers of the ancient Greek religion. Although people who do that, they reckon the number's more like 100,000 who still believe in those.
Really?
gods. I mean, it's in their interest to pump up the numbers,
Of course,
right?
yeah. But it's not like a thing. It's not like a thing of saying you're a Jedi, which was on a census
No,
a
it's-
few censuses
It's
ago.
more
everyone
like
said, "Oh, I'm a
Yeah.
more
Jedi."
like being a Wiccan, I would say, or like sorry to the Wiccans listening because I know people get that wrong a lot as well. But it's worshipping the old gods.
Yes.
Which
yeah.
definitely there are people in the UK who do that
Yeah,
too.
and the Greek Orthodox Church are very down on this sort of thing. They were
yeah.
very against this temple.
yeah.
Yeah, they were very hostile to it, and they said it was a regression to a dark world.
Right.
Gosh.
So Uranus, who you didn't pronounce properly beforehand, is that the only planet that we have that is named after a Greek god?
So this is where it again gets confusing because generally the planet names are the Roman versions of the gods.
Right.
So Aphrodite becomes Venus.
But
which
Neptune is Roman
Poseidon.
because the Poseidon is the Greek god.
Yeah.
So
And
Neptune is
Jupiter's
Roman.
Roman,
Jupiter's Roman.
Saturn's Roman.
Yeah.
But Uranus is the only one that's slightly...
Seems to be both.
Pluto is the dog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Running around barking a lot.
Yeah.
Mercury is the lead singer of Queen.
Would you like some fun ancient Greek etymology?
Yes.
Yes,
So-
always.
The word tantalizing
Yep.
is from Greek myth. I didn't know this until very recently. It's a myth about King Tantalus, and he was punished by Hades made him stand in a river up to his neck in water, and he wasn't allowed to eat or drink. So if he moved to get the fruit trees above him, the trees would move. If he moved to drink the water would move. So he was like always trying to get food or drink, and he couldn't. But would you like to know why he was punished by the
Oh,
gods?
yes.
He did 3 things.
Can we guess?
You can try.
He stole grapes.
Yeah, kind of. He stole nectar and ambrosia.
That's
so
a
I'll
pretty
give you
wild first hit rate.
that. Next one, 2 and 3.
He smacked the wrong child with a slipper.
He had sex with or saw a goddess naked. That often happens.
That's a good one.
I mean, they're not a million miles off. So the second one is secrets. He told secrets he'd overheard that he shouldn't have. And the third one is a worse version of the slipper. He killed his son and served him to the gods to test their powers of observation. And they did not like this.
How was he serving him?
I think in a stew.
Oh, that's impossible to tell. A stew?
Fail.
There's a lot going on.
Is this chicken? Is this pigeon? Is this your son? I don't know.
Yeah.
The god of beans is going though. What meat is this? And with guys,
I said-
something's up.
I said we should all be vegetarian.
That's really interesting because Tantalus is. So I was looking at the things we covered it ages ago that there are various financial houses named after Greek gods. It's a really common thing to do to make your grubby little hedge fund sound like it's been around for 2,000 years. You know what I mean? Like it's sort of
like Olympian handlings.
yeah, like exactly like
Yeah.
Jupiter investments.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like
Yeah,
whatever. You know, all of this stuff. But sorry, so any hedge funders listening, if you want to sponsor an episode, we'll very happily do that. But there's a very niche one. There was this amazing article by Thomas Fedorek who spotted there's Eurycleia partners,
Okay.
right? And I'd never heard of Eurycleia.
No.
And Eurycleia is a minor character in the Odyssey. And this is actually, I think, the best named financial institution you could have named after a character from ancient myth. Because in the Odyssey, Odysseus gets home 20 years later. Where have you been? All that. But there are loads of chancers living in the house trying to shag his wife, basically. That's and she is putting them off and saying, look, my husband's going to be home any minute.
Yeah.
But it's been 20 years and it's wearing increasingly thin. And it's
The god of snooze buttons going, I'll give you 9 more minutes.
so when Odysseus is on his way home, he will be killed by all the chancers who are, you know, sort of like young warlords trying to get with his wife. So the goddess Athena disguises Odysseus as a tramp so he won't be killed on sight, right? So he can get into the house and suddenly throw off his costume and win the prize and reclaim his wife and all of this. Everyone is fooled by the sight of this tramp except Eurycleia, who is an elderly servant living in the house, and she is the one who spots a familiar scar on his thigh and says, "You're Odysseus."
How does she know his thigh so well?
Well, good point. Good point. But she observes him, and it means she can buy stocks in Odysseus, basically. So I think that is a terrific. Like she has the insight based on good market knowledge. So I think that is a fantastic name for a financial organization.
Okay. Well, do you know what my hedge fund will be called?
Yeah.
Mine would be called Epimetheus Holdings.
Okay.
Because Epimetheus was the god of afterthought and excuses. And he was the brother of Prometheus.
Yeah.
So Prometheus in this story creates humans. And Epimetheus creates all the other animals. But he's so sort of stupid and just really impulsive that he puts all the best bits on all the other animals. So he puts the wings on the eagles and he puts the humps on the camels and the trunks on the elephants and all the best bits are there. So the humans just get a shitty little human body.
Oh.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
So should we have had humps and wings? And
We should have had humps, but in the end, only the Black Eyed Peas had them.
Okay, it is time for fact number 3, and that is my fact. My fact this week is that the greatest ever treasure trove of original American comic strips was discovered in a naval warehouse by a man called Blackbeard.
Ooh, that's very cool.
It's a great name. He's William Blackbeard. This was a guy who really is credited by people within the community of comic books in America as single-handedly the reason that we have all the original source material from, the 30s onwards. He made it his mission to track down and find all the original newspapers. So he would go around to people's garages, and he would just say, do you have any old newspapers? And often they did. And he would cut out the comic strips and he would log them. And so he kept this huge archive. And he was having to do it very slowly. But then eventually he discovered that the Library of Congress had 6 acres of naval warehouse in Virginia. And it was where they were housing all of these newspapers that went back to the 19th century. And so he suddenly thought, great, they're safe. But then it turned out that they were getting rid of them because they thought, they're going to deteriorate. So they were photographing, making microfilm of them, and then they were going to toss them away. Now, the issue for him was if you'd make a microfilm of comic strips, they're in black and white. They're no longer in color. And so he did a deal and he was able to extract them all. And as a result, saved all the originals of these things. So he's a real hero in that community.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Did he have to cut out the strips individually, or did he keep them as like full
No,
papers?
he did. He just kept them out. I don't know if he did that for every single one.
Because
but
like for every paper, that's...
You can't keep the whole paper. That's why they were in warehouses, these huge stacks of papers, and all he wanted was one tiny strip of paper. So we should say, yes, this is comic strips, not comic books.
Exactly.
It's not a first edition Superman, it's a first edition
Garfield.
Garfield.
It was something like 2.5 million clippings that he managed to get his hands on. They're still going through the archive. So there's a couple of Instagram accounts where they show latest findings. I saw one the other day of a poster of Charlie Brown, which they were really excited because it's, it's its original. Yeah. A huge, huge hero to this community.
I guess people didn't realize what they had. Like you need somebody to like how every book the British Library takes a copy.
Yeah.
But you need a system to store the comics.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that guy set it up and
Yeah, him and his wife, he just did it. He just set up his own company. And
That's so cool.
Yeah, which he had to do, I believe. Otherwise, they wouldn't give it over to him because he wasn't an institution.
it's like resources.
And are people like using this resource now?
Yeah, it's kind of the main archive that is used for any comic book history. He wrote a lot of books as well off the back of it.
Did he?
Yeah.
He printed the strips, didn't he? He said, look, here are a load of Peanuts cartoons.
I think he did a lot. I think
Probably sold it a bit better than that.
I think I read he did a lot of like consultancy work for people who wanted to know what was in the comics or to find out stuff because he knew them all so well.
Yeah.
As well.
I
He was like the
guess,
go-to comic strip guy.
Yeah, the reason I was thinking is like, what use is it to have this
A
stuff?
lot of medical knowledge in there, a lot of like ancient lost
you
secrets.
get hit by a frying pan twice, then you get your memory back.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's just
well,
cultural history.
it's cultural
isn't it,
history,
you know?
yeah.
When did people start wearing braces? Well, let's look at this ancient edition
I
of
see.
Fred the dog or whatever it is. Yeah. There's a lot of debate about when comics began, because obviously they became big in the 20th century in a really big way in newspapers.
What
when
about hieroglyphs?
Well, you've just outgunned my early bid, which was for the Bio Tapestry.
Oh,
But
yeah.
yes.
A comic strip?
Is it a comic strip?
What about
Sort of
like
is.
the cave paintings? I've seen cave paintings where it appears like one thing comes after the other one.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Cave comics.
Arguably, cartoons and comic strips are the oldest medium.
There we go. There we go.
That is cool.
When were you going to say the Bayer Tapestry? Okay.
Yeah, because that is sequential, though, isn't it? The Bayer Tapestry.
And it's a strip.
It is.
And it's coming
Yeah.
here. We're going to get it in the UK. We're so excited. There are some vases, which are technically a kind of animation. I know they're not as old as the cave paintings, but there are some ancient Persian vases. This is really cool. I've never heard of Iran's burnt city.
Oh, Jesus.
It's unfortunate timing now. But there is a place called the Burnt City, which is an ancient historical site. They found a bowl in there which was 5,200 years old. And it's got these 5 images on it. And if you spin the bowl, it shows a goat jumping up and grabbing some leaves from a tree.
Oh,
It's
cool.
like early
like
animation.
Zoetrope
So you need
kind
It's
of
like a zoetrope, the thing you spin round and round, and the animation repeats
Wow.
itself.
That's amazing.
I've seen they've rendered it into an animation.
So that's like
online.
the original flip book as opposed to
Yeah.
comic strip.
You're right. It is
Yeah.
more of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's very
That's very
cool.
cool.
Do you know where the word cartoon comes from or when it was first used in the UK?
Shakespeare?
No, after that, it was 1843 and it referred to some things in the Houses of Parliament.
Ooh.
So they'd recently put some murals in there.
Yeah.
And the word cartoon at that time meant like a little sketch you would do on cardboard before you did your big painting. So if you're in Italy, for instance, it was an Italian word. So let's say Leonardo da Vinci wants to do the Last Supper, but first he's going to do a little scribble on his shredding box.
Like to get all the spacing right.
Yeah, to get all the spacing right and stuff. So that was an Italian word. And then the magazine Punch used the word to refer to these murals in the House of Parliament that people were able to go and see. And then it became kind of a risible thing because it was a comedy magazine. And then they started using the word cartoon to refer to their political cartoons,
That's so cool.
which became big around that time as well. And that's why we use it today.
Wow.
That's amazing.
So
That
interesting.
is very cool.
I have another Italian word. The Italian for a comic strip is fumetto, which means literally little puff of smoke. And it's named for the shape, the little speech bubbles you get in comic strips.
Beautiful.
Isn't that
Say it
beautiful?
again, the word.
I think it's pronounced fumetto.
Right.
Fumetto. Fumetto.
Fumetto.
But it's the little clouds.
I love
which
that.
is very beautiful.
That's wonderful. I was looking into a few of the major comic strip creators of the 1930s onwards in America. When circulation was like, it was getting 34 million readers a day because it was syndicated to all the newspapers. So these people were amongst the most read in America at the time. Elzie Segar, who we've mentioned before, he's the creator of Popeye. This guy died quite young, so he did about 9 years worth of Popeye, but the cultural impact that it had is massive. Most of the illustrators who came after, like Charles Schulz and so on, hold this guy up as one of the great geniuses.
Okay.
So that stuff is kind of obvious, but it had an even bigger impact that I didn't realize, which is that Popeye was meant to be Mario. So in Japan, when Mario was first made, it was never meant to be Donkey Kong and Mario. It was meant to be Bluto and Popeye, but they
really?
couldn't get the rights to it.
Oh, no.
So they had to change it so that it became that. So we could have been playing Popeye Kart, these days. But actually,
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's so
it was
cool.
just simply a rights issue, and they had to pivot
And they had
into
to make
making
up.
it something else. Yeah.
So like literally necessity is the mother of invention. I read that during the Great Depression, it made spinach consumption go up 33% as the American children named it one of their top 3 favorite foods after ice cream and turkey. It was
Wow.
spinach.
Wow.
Spinach.
That's
It really
incredible.
rebranded spinach.
That's unbelievable branding for spinach,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
quite the bronze position on the podium. There have been a lot of concerns about comics over the years, and I'm speaking here more about comic books rather than comic strips. Like, no one's ever been made depraved by Garfield in the paper, but there were a lot of worries in the 1940s. There were even some comic book burnings that happened. So a lot of editorials which said they were a national disgrace. One American critic called John Mason Brown described them as the marijuana of the nursery.
Wow.
I know. There was a big work in 1954, Seduction of the Innocent, by...
That was Frederick Wortham, right?
yes, he was a child psychologist who did a lot of good in his career, ensured that a lot of poor or mentally unwell people got fair trials, helped fight mental illness in children, but he had a big bee in his bonnet about comics. He decided they were evil. He decided that Batman and Robin were an item, which was less socially acceptable in the 40s than it was today.
Well, they weren't an item.
And they absolutely weren't. I think he was seeing what he wanted to see there.
He did a bit, didn't
He decided Superman was a fascist, very much not the point, and he basically thought they should all be a 15 certificate blanket, no
Right.
exceptions.
So we have slightly mentioned him before.
Have we?
Yeah, but what I didn't know about him is he did this sort of like comic books are terrible thing. And then a load of right-wing people started giving him money because they really liked the fact that he was trying to censor cartoons and stuff. But on the side, he was an anti-racism campaigner. And like you say, he was running clinics for mental health and stuff like that. But specifically, he was running them in Harlem, which had a very, very high African-American population. And he was really helping those communities. And so all the money from these right-wingers that they thought was going to kind of ban Porky Pig or whatever was actually going to help these hospitals. Isn't that cool?
Very funny. That's very cool. Yeah. It led to this thing called the Comics Code, which had all these rules like if crime is depicted, it shall be as a sordid and unpleasant activity. No lurid, unsavory or gruesome illustrations. No Walking Dead, torture, vampires, ghouls, cannibalism or werewolfism. Guess what year this code lasted until?
20.
Dan, would you like to
2025.
ruin the game?
Is it 200 BC?
Thank you, James. It was 2011.
Wow.
The final members of this code, people gradually, like comic book makers gradually fell away from it, but the final
Yeah.
members kept going until 2011.
You still get that a bit today where, like, in a movie, it's quite rare that you get a film where people do something bad and they don't get caught for it, or they don't get, they don't get the comeuppance somehow. Do you know what I mean?
It's quite unsatisfying when you watch it and people don't get the comeuppance. Yeah.
On you were talking about werewolves and all that kind of stuff. In 1954 in Glasgow, there was a vampire hunt. And this was basically a load of kids were going around Glasgow trying to find vampires. And eventually it led to the Children and Young Persons Harmful Publications Act of 1955, which banned the sale of comic books with, evil characters in it. And what they thought was that people had been reading comics with vampires in and had decided to go around cemeteries attacking people. But people pointed out that actually there were no vampire comics around that time. No one had read any.
Right.
They couldn't point to the one that these kids had been reading. But there is a monster with iron teeth in the Bible in Daniel 7:7, which had been mentioned in local schools around the time. And what they think happened was they'd heard this story from the Bible. They thought, let's go and find that person. And then the police had said, oh, they're looking for vampires. Wow. But it did lead to an actual act of parliament.
So it's sort of excess Sunday school is what we're saying.
That's what it seems to be. Yeah, ban it.
I was reading about Sujnu's lovely fact that there were 2 Dennis the Menace cartoons launched on the same day.
Oh,
so
yeah.
the Scottish one
And all the
and the
coincidences
American
of-
one.
yeah.
But I didn't realise that they think that the reason that happened at the same time was there's a really popular music hall song called Dennis the Menace from Venice,
Okay.
which I'd never heard
So
that
a
bit
third
before.
Dennis the Menace. So
So they may have
yeah.
heard that song, and then it was sort of like a catchy name, and they developed it.
Well, it's
I mean,
such a good name.
it still came out on exactly the same day on both sides of the Atlantic, which
Yeah.
was
Which is-
absolutely
It is
wild.
insane.
Yeah,
But not that insane if 2 years earlier there was another character
but
with
the
that
same
name
day.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a real,
I
like-
still find it hard to get my head around. I still think that must prove something. I don't know what it proves.
Simulation
Yeah.
theory. Yeah.
Simulation
There
theory,
we
yeah.
go.
I mean, Dennis the Menace, we should say, doesn't...
Which one?
Which one? Yeah.
British one.
British.
Black and red, spiky hair, dog called Nasher,
Nasher.
all of that.
Yep.
Doesn't, of course, get slippered anymore.
Does he not?
Yeah.
No, if you buy the Beano these days, it's very rare to end with corporal punishment, which I just sort of accepted when I was reading it as a child, that
Yeah.
that was the thing that would happen, was that
You get slippered, yeah.
your grumpy mustachioed dad would hit you with the slipper.
Yeah.
And that was
That was normal.
that was normal. And it never did us any harm.
Do you know that in Dundee we have our big statue in the town centre is Desperate Dan?
Is it?
Is that so?
Yeah, there's a Minnie the Minx next to
Oh,
him.
that's very cool.
Yeah.
Because that was the other thing. We've mentioned that on the show. The meat pies that he would eat.
Yeah.
They got changed into vegan pies for a while as well.
Cow pies.
Cow pies, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were changed into veggie.
Hang on, this is my son in here.
it was an observation test, sir.
Oh, here's a tiny, tiny fun detail. Scrooge McDuck was invented by a man called Carl Barks. The wrong...
Sentence person.
Almost.
It sounds like a cartoon of a socialist dog, doesn't it?
Oh, but
Why don't we all share the bone? So funny.
Okay, it is time for our final fact of the show, and that is James.
Okay, my fact this week is that naked mole rat toilet cleaners have no hope for promotion.
It's a tough enough gig being a naked mole rat.
Yeah.
And it's a tough enough gig cleaning toilets for a living.
Yeah.
But being a naked mole rat and cleaning toilets for a living does feel like you've drawn a bit of a short straw.
It's a
are
double
they
one.
only
Yeah.
cleaning naked mole rat toilets?
Yes.
Good question.
That'll take a really long time to do like King's Cross Station.
That's such a good point. So this is Naked Mole Rats.
Yeah.
I think one of the poster boys of QI over the years. We
Yeah.
love Naked Mole Rats. They're hardworking. They're hideous looking. They live in Africa, where we don't, and they live underground. And there was a recent study from the Journal of Science Advances that showed individual naked mole rats perform specific duties for their colony. Okay, there's digging, transporting garbage, cleaning the toilets, because they have all these tunnels, and some of the tunnels are used for pooing and weeing. And the team from Kumamoto University in Japan, They put RFID chips in some of these naked mole rats, like the ones you get in your Oyster cards or whatever, or in your credit cards. And they managed to monitor these naked mole rats over a certain period and found that they never changed their job. So what they think is that basically once you're a toilet cleaner, you stay as a toilet cleaner. Right. It's still early days whether this is completely right, because it was quite a short survey, but that's what they think.
They are absolutely hideous looking.
Are we talking about the scientists from Kumamoto University? Or?
I am. But we should say, if you've never seen a naked mole rat and you're listening to this, do have a little Google, because they just are not classically fit animals. Like
they live underground.
They live underground.
They have terrible eyesight.
I know they've got bad. So it doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter. Is that what you're saying?
How does she look? I have no idea.
But they've basically got they're naked. They've got this sort of wrinkly nude flesh. They look like a sausage with teeth, is what the scientists who work on them say.
But would you eat that sausage?
No.
I'd have to have gone a long time without a sausage to
I
consider
couldn't.
it. I wouldn't pick that off the barbecue first.
But especially not these guys, 'cause they have such amazing superpowers. So like we think they don't feel pain. They can survive 18 minutes without oxygen, but they can do so many cool
They are
things.
so
They're
weird.
incredible. I wonder, by the way, if the toilet cleaners are also partial chefs, because
Dear, I hope they wash their paws.
well, naked mole rats, they eat each
like-
other's feces.
Oh boy.
no.
And the queens, they have a queen, which is an
Yeah.
amazing thing.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
it's-
queen of the toothed sausages. It's not. I think queen is putting it a bit strong, actually.
that's very unfair.
They
on the
probably wouldn't
society.
find you very attractive, Andy, actually.
They'd be like, can he survive for 18 minutes without oxygen?
Yeah, hairy
No.
stick man.
Can this guy shut his lips behind his teeth? No, he can't. Yuck.
But yeah, the queen, Dan.
Well, the queen,
huge.
yeah, she has particular hormones in her droppings, so they'll eat the queens to get sustenance and so on. But yeah, pooing. So I wonder if the
I feel
toilet
like-
cleaners are sort of going, hey, let's eat this stuff.
I feel like I read that by eating the poo, they sort of learn like how best to protect her and what she needs.
Well,
Not sure on the details.
Actually, she can fire her estrogen out
Yeah.
in the poo, they think. So when she has babies, she gets a whole load of estrogen in her body. Some of it obviously goes out in the poo. The other naked mole rats eat it, and they get estrogen in their body, which makes them better parents, so they can all look after the children
Yeah,
together.
they live in colonies where there's one sexually active female who's the queen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a couple of sexual males, and then there are workers. And it's between like 40 and a few hundred workers. But the queen suppresses the sexual instincts of almost everyone else in the colony.
Yeah.
Most adults don't even develop genitalia.
Yeah.
All the females have sealed vaginas. The males have immature sperm that could not
Yeah,
penetrate
right.
an egg, and that's thanks to the queen being in position.
Well, because the queen, it is Game of Thronesy. Like the queen
Yeah.
isn't born queen; they fight to find
they?
who the next queen is. Yeah, so it's like a bloodbath. They're just killing each other right until the point where the female mole rat becomes pregnant, and then that becomes the queen. And
They just kill the females with the most estrogen. Just fight and kill each other
Yeah.
until one of
One
them
remains.
establishes enough dominance.
and then they start giving birth, and then it's an amazing process. So the first time they give birth, it's between 1 and 10 naked mole rat babies,
Pups, yeah.
pups. But then every time they give birth, their body stretches. It's like you've pulled them a
What?
bit longer because their spinal column stretches, which means they can hold more pups in them to give birth. So they end up being able to give birth to 30,
Oh.
and they get pregnant every few months.
Yeah.
They're insane.
That's-
They're the most insane. I can't believe it's taken us 12 years to cover naked mole rats.
Naked mole
Every
rat.
time I find the naked mole rat fights, I just think, oh, we've probably done them before.
Yeah.
I know. A lot of their brain apparently is devoted to their teeth.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the main ways they experience the world is through their teeth. Because their teeth are right out in front. They're digging a lot,
Right.
and that's why they
So
close their
can they
lips.
feel with them?
I don't know. I don't know if they can probably sense vibration
Yeah.
through them. I'd think so. They are really good diggers. 1/4 of their muscle mass is in their jaws to close their jaws while they're digging. They can run backwards as fast as they can run forwards.
Very, very slowly.
Is it slowly?
It's hard to
No,
imagine.
they can. I think they can whiz around their tunnels. But they live in these huge colonies, like the area of a football pitch, let's say, but with thousands of meters of tunnels
Yeah, yeah.
underneath. Just imagine looking down on a football pitch from underneath and seeing these sausages firing themselves around through the soil in all these zigzag patterns.
Better than watching a football match for you, Andy, I imagine.
One of the things they do, by the way, when they're running backwards, and I guess forwards as well, is they use their hair. So we call them naked mole rats, but they do have hair, and they're kind of like whiskers.
Yeah.
They're very soft, very thin, but they're kind of like how cats use their whiskers as sensory items. So as they're running through the tunnel, they have tail hair and they have body hair that's allowed for them to sense where they're going.
Can we talk a bit about them and air? So Anne briefly mentioned that they don't really need air in the same way that we do.
Yeah.
Like oxygen.
They're crazy. Yeah, they can, because they're tunneling underground all the time, they can go for ages and ages in a tunnel which is, let's say, 5% oxygen. Now, normal air is, 21% oxygen. Above ground air, classic air, is 21% oxygen.
Original full fat air.
But they can live underground in these tunnels which have very low oxygen content, and they're fine. They've been experimented on. They can live for 18 minutes with no oxygen,
Yeah.
which would kill any human.
Yeah, I thought
Any
David
human.
Blaine did about that.
You do get those people who can hold their breath for about 20 minutes,
Yeah.
don't you? 'Cause
What?
you remember we did an episode, and I think we said that world record for holding your breath was like 23 minutes or something.
Okay, you're right. You guys are right, but I would just say, if unless you've done a lot of training,
Yeah. It's not
18 minutes
standard.
without oxygen, it's going to be bad for you.
Absolutely.
But related to that as well, did you read that when they sleep, they like to sort of sleep all together in a big pile, like
yeah.
all 300 of them. And they think that because they're all breathing out, they basically kind of like blanket themselves in carbon dioxide, which has the effect of reducing seizures. And the paper I read said very clearly, this is only for naked mole rats. No one else is to try this as a treatment. But there's some reason that they think it sort of like slows down their brains and it sort of protects them.
Interesting.
And even if you give them a big space, they will clump together. And they described as it's like building a luxury resort and having all of your guests choose to sleep in the same broom closet.
Yeah.
Naked as well. Now say,
Oh, no,
they're
I've got a
naked.
few whiskers. I'm not really naked. You were talking about the oxygen and how they survive with little oxygen. So I don't really quite understand this, but the way it works is our bodies use glucose as energy, and that glucose system in your body requires oxygen to work. But when they have no oxygen, they switch to fructose-based system.
Right.
I don't really understand this, but apparently fructose doesn't require oxygen. So you can still get the energy going around your system, but you don't need the oxygen as well. And that's how plants work. That's how plants get energy around them. But no other mammal has ever been found that uses this system.
Like the plant system. They're very cool.
It's
insane.
the missing
Yeah.
link. It's the in the fossil record between plant and human.
Naked mole rats. And they live underground. So like
Yeah.
maybe they just like hang out with the plants.
That's wild. Can I ask I know you said you didn't understand it, but the idea of them doing a thing that only plants do,
Yes.
is that one of the most interesting biological things that we've ever noticed? Like, is this the great mystery of...
I don't know. I didn't get a massively good response in this room.
Oh,
But
you kidding? It's insane.
It's insane.
Well,
It's insane that they have
Everything they do is.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's insane they have two operating systems, one for backup, which just no one else has. There are other naked mole rats, I think. There's the, what is it, the Damaraland mole rat.
Yeah.
There are a few others. But yeah, they're very weird.
The Damaraland ones are quite interesting because they have basically two different types of that mole rat. Half of them are really, really hardworking and industrious, and the other half are fat and they don't really do any work. But those are the ones that do the mating, apparently. So the other,
great.
the busy ones do 95% of the work,
Yeah.
but the lazy ones do almost all of the reproduction.
Do they?
That's so unfair.
I know, that's life, isn't it? All I say is it's exactly what happens in naked mole rat holdings.
How do you have time to make this show when you have so many businesses on the fly?
Every one of them is making a massive loss.
We should say who first described them scientifically. It's quite interesting. There's a German scientist who was called Eduard Ruppel, and he travelled around a lot, sending samples and animals and specimens back to Frankfurt, which is where he was based. Various things are named after him. There's Ruppel's bustard, Ruppel's griffin vulture, Ruppel's wrasse, the fish, you know. Anyway, when he found the naked mole rat, he thought, this is so hideous. This must be a diseased or a mutated individual from another species.
Right.
The main thing cannot look like this.
Ironically, it doesn't really get diseases.
No, you're so
Yes.
right. You're so right. Yeah, yeah.
God, is that what we're going to look like if we're truly healthy?
That's true, actually. If you get all these squillionaires who are like trying to make themselves live forever, they all do end up looking a bit like a naked mole.
Okay, that's it. That is all of our facts. Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to get in contact with any of us about the things that we have said over the course of this podcast, we can all be found online. I'm on @Schreiberland on Instagram. James?
My hedge funds can all be found on LinkedIn. Come and join me on there. James Harkin is my name.
Andy?
My Instagram's Andrew Hunter M.
Yep. And Anne?
My Instagram is @AnneMillerBooks.
Yeah, and don't forget, it says books at the end of her handle because she has just released her kids' book, which is called Monster Diaries.
It's a retelling the Greek myths from the monsters' point of view. This one's the Cyclops.
Yeah, so it's called Monster Diaries, The Cyclops, and the Worst Party Ever. It's part of a trilogy, so there's 2 more coming out. So get it now. It's going to be out very soon. And if you want to get through to us, by the way, podcast@qi.com. We get all your emails there. Andy goes through them. If you're going to send us an interesting fact, that might make its way to our bonus episode that comes out every Monday called Little Fish. If you want to send us an interesting experience or something that's related to something we said in an episode, Andy might pick that out for Drop Us a Line, which is our mailbag episode. Now, that's a secret show. You can only listen to that show if you join Club Fish. That's a Patreon thing, so check out patreon.com/clubfish. There's so many fun things going on there. It's turned into a real amazing community, so go see if you want to join that. And otherwise, why not just come back here next week, because we're going to be back again with another episode, and we will see you then. Goodbye.